Good evening. I'm John Batchelor. This is the John Batchelor Show. My professionals are here to comment on the considerably difficult to understand maneuvers now going on Capitol Hill with regard to the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. This ties us closely to explanations of parliamentary procedure between the House and the Senate, and also within the Senate itself, commanded by Harry Reid and the Democratic majority. David Drucker of the Washington Examiner, who covers the Hill very closely and has for years, John Fund of the National Review Online, and my friend and colleague Patrick Travanik of Silvercrest Asset Management here with me in studio. I begin with Mr. Drucker, who can give us, there will be a quiz, everyone. Get your notes and pencils ready, who will give us an example of how Mitch McConnell has earned his salary as the minority leader now running for re-election in Kentucky. David, a very good evening to you. The continuing resolution comes to the Senate. In it is language to defund Obamacare. This is very exciting for one junior senator from Texas. He's excited to the point that he's lost my understanding of his road ahead. What is Mr. McConnell's road ahead as we understand it tonight? Good evening, David.
Good evening, John. And Mitch McConnell, through a spokesman, announced today that he will vote for the House-passed continuing resolution which defunds Obamacare. And, in fact, he will do so basically 3 times. And to understand how strange Senate procedure is, that's exactly what Ted Cruz and the defunders don't want him to do. Because the only way the proponents of defunding Obamacare can stop the Democratic majority from stripping out the defunding language is to filibuster their own bill. There's going to be a cloture vote, a vote to allow debate to begin on the House-passed continuing resolution on Wednesday. And, in fact, I don't really expect too much filibustering of that vote because it will simply allow debate to begin. But a vote to proceed to debate, in a sense, is a vote for the House bill and all of its language. A couple days later, there'll be another cloture vote. That will be a vote to end the debate on the House bill. At that point, Senator Cruz, Senator Mike Lee from Utah, and others who are supporters of the House bill are going to urge everybody to filibuster it, to block it, in a sense, to vote against it. The reason they're going to do that is because once 60 votes have been achieved to end debate on the bill, Harry Reid, according to Senate rules, not anything that he's manipulated, and manipulation isn't beyond him, but according to standard Senate rules, once debate on the bill has ended, Harry Reid will be able to proceed to a vote on an amendment to strike the defunding language. And that vote will only require 51 votes. And, of course, Harry Reid has 54. But if you vote for stripping the language at that point, it's a vote against defunding. But if you vote to keep the language, it's a vote for the House bill and to keep it intact. But what Mr. Cruz and his allies know is that they don't have the votes at that point to stop anything. And so that's a rundown of where we're going to end up between now and next weekend. And then it'll be back in the House's court to decide what they want to do with a continuing resolution that now does fund the Affordable Care Act.
So Mitch McConnell will vote no 3 times.
No, he will vote. Well, he will vote yes twice and no once.
No, yes, the first 2 times he will vote yes, and then
right. Yes, and he will be able to say that each vote was in favor of defunding Obamacare.
Right, got it. Mr. Fund, Mitch McConnell is running for re-election. Does this make a delicate maneuver for him, or is he firmly in control of his fate in the Senate and his fate in Kentucky?
I think this allows him to thread the needle. He got some good news today, by the way. One of the 2 Democrats running against him dropped out of the Democratic primary and announced they'd be running as a left-wing independent next year.
Yes.
That will greatly help him because it will drain votes from the Democratic nominee.
So he's in a good mood tonight. John, Mitch McConnell's maneuver here, as David just explained it, don't ask me to summarize it quickly because it's 3 different votes. Is that satisfactory to the House waiting for the CR to come back for September 30th?
Well, the House worries that by sending this defunding Obamacare language over to the Senate, they've exposed themselves to a Harry Reid surprise, potentially, which is Harry Reid decides, well, I really don't like these automatic spending cuts called the sequester. I'm going to propose a tax increase that will fund more military spending for the Republican districts of House members that are being sorely hit by the Pentagon budget cuts. That would throw another spanner into the works and complicate things, but the odds-on favored scenario is that he sends over a clean CR, the House votes it out, no government shutdown, and the entire debate moves to the debt limit.
Patrick, I hold you responsible for all of New York right now. The market's been off for 3 days in a row. There's a lot of noise out of Washington about a government shutdown. I'm told that no one in Washington is actually preparing for a shutdown. What does New York think, or what does the world think of this maneuver right now?
Well, I think that markets tend to conflate two distinct things, which is on the one hand, the government shutdown, and on the other hand, the debt ceiling.
Right.
And they think about them kind of in the same breath without separating them. And I think they definitely do need to be separated, because the debt ceiling crisis, if it comes, that has serious economic implications. But I think I would argue it's actually less likely to happen than still, even with all these maneuverings in the Senate, a government shutdown ultimately, I think, is less significant but more likely to happen.
I want to speak of the debt ceiling next, but I want to go through this one more time. David, the likelihood of a continuing resolution failing and the government having to shut down next week, on a scale of 1 to 5 million, what would you say it is, David?
Well, I honestly can't make up my mind yet. I still think it's possible. The reason I think it's possible is we don't yet know what House Republicans are going to do when they get that clean CR back. We don't know
Exactly.
what the 40 most committed defunders among the 233 House Republicans are going to want to do. Are they going to be supportive of a clean CR and let's move to the debt limit and have the debate where we have more leverage, meaning the Republicans? Or does Speaker Boehner pull a sort of a hat out of his back pocket, attach something that isn't defunding but is kind of clever, and send that back to the Senate? But will that satisfy the most committed defunders? And so I think it really is going to depend on how House Republicans feel, a little short of a week from now after they've seen this whole thing play out.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I heard was that they could try to attach something that remove the exclusion of House and Senate members and their staffs from Obamacare, and attach that on, which then would be
the Vitter initiative,
right? Or something that would delay Obamacare by a year.
Mm-hmm. So the delay debate is going to be in the debt ceiling, and we'll get to that.
We'll get to that in the next segment.
But it is possible that they could attach an amendment that would take away the employer health care contribution that members and their staff already get, but will continue to get once they go into the Obamacare exchanges, and that has everybody all riled up. And it would be a good political move for Republicans to force Senate Democrats' hand on that, but because it's that smart, I'm not sure if they'll get to it.
Mr. Fund, right now, your opinion, John Boehner, his position, does he have the votes to pass the clean CR with that thing called the Hastert rule?
Yes, probably, but probably not to pass it without Democratic votes. You would have to get some Democrats, and I think they would be available. 35 Democrats voted against part of Obamacare a month ago, the business mandate. So I think he would find some. Nancy Pelosi does not have quite the iron grip in her caucus that she used to.
And so right now, just to review, because we're going to move to the budget ceiling next. If you think this was easy, next time we're going to make you take notes in pen. Okay. Mitch McConnell's going to vote yes twice. Is that correct, David? Yes the first time to start debate, yes the second time to end debate on the CR. Is that correct, David?
That's correct.
And then the third time, he will vote no against it, but because it's a majority rules third vote, Harry Reid will deliver, and the CR will go back to the House. Clean.
Yes, correct.
Okay. David Drucker of the Washington Examiner, John Fund of the National Review Online, Patrick Jovanik of Silvercrest Asset Management. Next up, the debt ceiling. I'm John Batchelor.